Hey everybody, and welcome to your 15-minute beginner's yoga practice. So if this is your first time practicing yoga ever, I humbly welcome you. Well done for being here. Often the hardest thing is to actually get on the mat and begin your journey. We often think yoga is this really scary practice where it's all about flexibility, all about doing crazy funky poses. Really, it's just about showing up and feeling what's going on in your body in that day and allowing everything you bring on your journey to be valid. So welcome. We don't need any props today unless you would like to have a cushion underneath the sit bones just to elevate the hips when we're seated, or anything extra you need for comfort. Yoga mat if you have one, or if you're practicing on carpet you might not necessarily need a yoga mat, but just find some way of arriving here today and being grateful for just starting this journey together. So we'll begin in a comfortable seated position, Sukhasana, easy cross pose. And maybe just allow yourself to settle by closing the eyes or softening the gaze down low. Feeling the points of contact your body has with the ground. Feeling the connections with the earth. Can we lengthen through the spine as best as possible? Finding that energy from the tailbone up to the crown of the head as we inhale, and also that energy rooting us back in, so softening some of the tension of the shoulders, the face, even the belly. Let's take a moment to notice your breathing. Where is the breath in your body? Maybe place the hand to the abdomen area and just allow the belly to rise as you inhale and fall as you exhale. Encouraging the breath to come in and out through the nose and allowing it to be smooth and slow. Releasing the hand back down to whether it's comfortable, and continue this breathing as best we can in and out through the nose. Often our yoga practice can get quite confusing with the breath, so remember this is a practice. It is not a performance. So the first time you practice may feel strange, difficult, too fast, too slow. Breathing may be all over the place. Today, think of just coming to your practice as you are. You are enough just as you are right now. Then blinking your eyes open, welcome yourself back into the room. We'll start to move. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Take a big stretch. Maybe interlace the fingers, flipping the palms, and just move around a little bit. Maybe it's the first thing you've done this morning, or maybe it's just nice to actually get some movement into your day. Oh, feel all those lovely creaks in your body. Doesn't matter how much movement I take, I often feel all these aches and creaky spots in the body. It feels nice just to open. We don't have to have straight arms. You can just play with movement in our upper body, our shoulders, even our fingers. Okay, let's release the hands and twist to the right side. Left hand can cross over to the thigh or knee of the right leg, and the right fingertips can sprinkle behind. Just maybe twist the neck as much as feels comfortable today. Checking in with that breath again. We'll arrive back to the center and swap and go the other way. So that right hand will cross to the left leg. Fingertips of the left fingers will just sprinkle behind, and we'll twist as much as feels nice for your spine, your neck. Coming back to the center. Right hand's going to come down to the right side, and we'll just take a side stretch. It can be a deep or shallow side stretch. It can be a moving side stretch. Just feeling into the side of your body. Rooting down through that left sit bone, even letting the head move with you. One more breath. We'll take it to the other side, slowly dropping left fingertips down into the floor. Right arm can go over the head, or again, you can come in and out of this pose. Often it depends what time of day it is, how we're feeling in our bodies, what time of the year it is, depending on how flexible we might feel, whether it's cold or whether it's warm. So move with ease in your body rather than having to force yourself to pretzel. We don't need to do that. Okay, we'll come back to the center. Fingertips can just drop down into the floor, and we'll drop the right ear towards the right shoulder, creating a stretch to the left side of the neck. Bring the head back to the center and slowly drop left ear, left shoulder. Head back to the center, we'll turn the head over to the right and over to the left, to the right and to the left. And then taking the chin down to the chest and up, gently stretching the throat, down and up. And then maybe little circles, small circles, they don't have to be big, avoiding throwing the head back too far. Let's go the opposite direction. Coming back to the center, let's inhale, roll the shoulders up, round and back as we exhale them down. Move with awareness of how your body's feeling. Good, one more circulation of the shoulders and then pausing for a moment. Let's make our way onto our hands and our knees into our tabletop position. So your hands can be relatively underneath your shoulders or a little bit forward. Hips are stacked over the knees. If you need some padding underneath your knees here, by all means take extra padding for your knees. As we inhale, we'll come into what we call cow pose. We dip into the lower back, lift up through the back of the skull and find that space through the front of your body, compressing the back body. Exhaling, we tuck the tailbone under and we arch the spine the other way. Chin can tuck to the chest as we push the floor away. Let's keep this movement going. It doesn't have to be big, it can be small. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more time, inhale, cow. And exhale into our cat pose. Good, starting to walk the hands forward and we'll come into our puppy pose position. So great to stretch out the shoulders. Your head does not need to touch the floor and rather keep a little bit of engagement into your rib cage as opposed to dropping your chest down to the floor. Getting a bit of a stretch out through the shoulders, the upper back. And this is a great variation if you don't want to come into downward facing dog. If you want to, you can also then walk your hands back towards your knees. Bum comes down towards the heels in child pose position. Again, the arms can reach forward to get that stretch to the entire spine. Then bring your weight into your hands if you'd like to move on. We're going to tuck the toes and shift into down dog. So as we lift the knees off the floor, push the bum up towards the sky and imagine your hands are running away with you on a conveyor belt. So they're running away. And we're still lifting the sit bones up to the sky. You can keep your knees softly bent. You do not have to straighten your legs. If this feels too much of a strengthener for your shoulders, you can come back down into tabletop and have a go again, pushing into downward facing dog. You might want to play with walking out through the feet. So you might find the hamstrings feel super tight. Maybe get the ankles, the toes, the joints of your feet starting to move. What we're looking for in this beginner's practice is what it feels like to be in this pose. We are not looking for perfection. Let's try and edge away from having to have a perfect yoga pose, a perfect yoga practice. Let's think about what it feels like to be in the body and explore. Good, we'll start to walk our feet towards the top of our mat into our dangle position. Softening your knees, maybe letting your head release. Maybe a yes, yes, no with the head. And you may want to grab opposite elbows and have a bit of a sway from side to side. Oh, it feels so nice on the lower back. Keeping those knees nicely, softly bent for your lower spine here. It's not wrong to straighten the legs, but if you do notice a little bit too much of pressure into your lower back, you may find it's nicer to soften your knees. Good. Fingertips can come down to the floor. We're going to lunge back with the right leg. Low lunge, right knee comes down into that nice lungy position. And don't worry if your knee comes over your toes, this is fine. Anatomically, this is lovely. It's getting a stretch into the ankle, into the hip flexor of the right leg and just exploring that feeling. We'll push back into a half Hanuman. So hamstring stretch. The leg does not have to be straight, it can be slightly bent. And we can play back and forward, just feeling into what it's like to move into your hips a little bit here. Don't worry about whether you're tight or whether you're really open, just have an exploration what this might feel like in your body. Good. Come back forward, tuck the right toes under, step the feet back to the top of the mat, back to dangle. And then we'll swap. Left leg's going to lunge back, drop the left knee down, back to that lunge position. And we can shift back into that half Hanuman, half hamstring stretch, and come forward again. And just feeling into the body, into the hips. Some days we definitely feel more flexible than others, and some days we might be quite stiff. Just be gentle with your body, nurture the movement. Good, tuck the left toes, step the feet back to the top of your mat, pausing in your standing forward fold, and then let's round as we curl up. So the knees can stay soft, rounding all the way up through the spine till we come up to standing nice and tall into your mountain position, Tadasana. So standing up nice and tall. Let's check in with the breathing. Maybe a hand can come back to the belly. Notice the breath. On the inhale, let's sweep the arms up to the sky, take a big stretch. Palms will come together and the hands will draw to the heart center. Just sink into chair pose. So the bum's going to come back, weight into the heels. Bend your knees as much as you would like to today. So you might find that you just want to bend a little bit. Push the palms towards each other as much as you would like to feel activation in your arms. And the weight is in the heels, so the toes are a little bit free, and we might just find that we're still sinking. See, we can avoid rounding the spine either too much, either way. So we're coming into that relatively neutral spine to fire up the legs. Good, let's lunge back, this time with the left leg. High lunge, arms can come up to the sky, engage the booty, so the bum muscles squeeze. High lunge position. Then we'll open up into warrior two. So that left heel comes down to the floor. Right knee stays where it is and the arms can open out wide. The only real rule for this pose is your right knee wants to stay in line roughly with your middle toe. So that means avoiding it dropping in or rolling out. If you find your hips are quite tight, just step that left foot slightly over to the long edge of the mat so you don't have quite so much opening and it feels a bit more comfortable. Arms, if they're getting tired, don't worry, we can always release them and come back in. And just feel what it's like to be here. Squeeze your bums and get your butt working. Let's come back to that Tadasana position. Inhale, reach the arms up, palms together. And exhale, let's come through our chair pose, bum back. Push the palms towards each other. Good, we'll step back with the right leg. High lunge, arms can come up high, squeeze the buttocks. Lengthen through the tips of the fingers. And we'll open again into that warrior two. Right heel comes down, arms open wide, checking that that left knee is in line with your middle toe. So if you look down from where you are, you should maybe be able to see your big toe. And if you need a little bit more space for your hips, step that right foot a little bit over to the long edge of the mat. Breathe. Coming back to the top of your mat. And we're going to curl back down, chin to chest, rolling all the way down. Softening your knees. Hands come to the floor. We'll step back into either high plank or your knees can come down in your high plank. Just feel what it's like to be in this position. Often, most people hate this pose, yeah? Quite a hard, high intensity position to hold. So take one more breath, inhale. And then let's come down all the way into Sphinx pose, forearms down. Little back bend, hips come to the ground, and we'll squeeze the buttocks, tuck the tailbone to the heels, and lengthen up through the back of the skull. Stretching out the front of the abdomen, but avoiding lifting your chin up too far to crunch into the back of the neck. Good, slowly lower your chest down to the earth, hands come under the shoulders, we'll push back up, and we're going to sweep our legs forward, so come onto your right or left hip. Sweep our legs in front. And then gently make your way into a rounded forward fold. So let the spine curve. Let your back round. We are not trying to get our nose to our knees. In fact, it's going to feel nicer if you just tuck your chin in and get that rounding all the way through the back line of the body. If it feels quite intense, take less. If it feels easy and you want to dive in a bit deeper, we can always take more. Go easy on yourself. Maybe you've come to your yoga practice because you're really tight and you want to find some more mobility in your body. This is going to take time. Good, slowly curling back up. And we're going to come all the way onto the back. So rolling down onto your spine, grounding the soles of the feet to the earth. We'll then push down through the soles of the feet and lift the hips off the ground only as far as you would like to go. So you can keep the back maybe a couple of inches away from the ground, or start pushing the hips up as high as they can go, pushing down through both feet. If you find that you need to take your feet a little bit wider, you can, or if your toes need to turn out a little bit, this is fine. So just working with the anatomy of your body, not having to force yourself to stay parallel, but seeing how your body feels, how your hips work today. We'll slowly melt down through each vertebrae of the spine. See, we can, one at a time, just drop the back into the earth. Oh, lovely. Then let the arms get a little bit wider, palms can face up. Just windscreen wipe the knees from side to side, creating a little bit of release for the lower back. You can either pause on one side and stay there, or you can rock from side to side. Coming back to the middle, we'll gently guide the knees into the chest, maybe hugging around the shins, hamstrings, knees, and just feel that lower back getting a lovely elongation. As you exhale, slide the feet either back down to the floor, hands can come to the belly, we can rest the legs into the floor into constructive rest pose. If you prefer to straighten your legs into full shavasana, so our resting pose at the end of yoga, lengthen the legs away. And you can stay here for as long as you need to. Maybe pausing the video and just allowing your body to rest until it's ready to come out of this position. Or if you're ready, start to wiggle fingers and toes, take a big stretch, inhale. Maybe sigh as we release. We'll roll onto one side and lift our body up into our seated position where we began. Let's take a closing stretch together. Inhale, sweep the arms up. The palms connect. And exhale the hands to the heart center. Maybe bow your head forward and thank yourself for showing up today. This is the beginning of the yoga journey for you. So well done for showing up. Namaste.